Hey, everybody. Yes. Welcome back to the Paid Search Podcast. My name is Jason Rothman. As always, I'm joined by the great Chris Schaefer. Chris, every week I say, how are you? And I'm going to say it again this week. I had a joke teed up, but I got no jokes. I got no weird intros. I got nothing left. I'm here to talk about Google Ads. How about you, buddy? That's where I'm at, Chris. That's where I'm at. I'm just doing the thing is all I've got. You know, that's all I've got in the tank these days. But I'm going to do it good, but that's all I've got.
He takes what he used to put into his super weird intros and puts it into the content. Believe me, it's a good exchange. You may miss the old yelling, yes, which that felt good. Maybe that could be it.
Yeah, maybe it's a sitting down, standing up thing. Maybe it's a having two kids versus I didn't have any kids thing. Maybe it's
I was going to ask
other things in my life. I don't know.
How is the growing family? I mean, I don't know how many kids. Every time I talk to you, I think you have a new kid. How is the growing family going now?
It's going great. Going great. 2 kiddos, just like you. And
boy and girl. So you're very, very rounded.
Are you serious right now?
Is it 2 boys? I forgot.
Are you serious, Chris?
I forgot. I couldn't remember. I was guessing.
I think a lot. I think a lot about you
it's 2
when
boys.
We're not recording. I worry about you. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah.
Think about how I can help you.
Okay, I haven't.
And then to realize you don't even realize what gender my kids are. Wow.
You sent me a picture. That's all I got. I mean, I haven't seen either one of them. I've never seen you, so you can forgive me.
Think about the things that I know about you that you tell me every week.
Oh, yeah.
Including 2 weeks ago, what you told me. Do you remember what you told me?
I have no idea.
And then
I'm sure it could not go on the podcast.
You have no idea? You have no idea? That bring back your memory there?
That's right. Yeah. We can't put that on the podcast.
Did that bring back your mememory just a little bit? Did that bring back your memory a little bit?
You remember too much, Jason. Dang it. I'm telling the wrong person these things.
So to tell me that and then to not even know what gender my kids are.
You're right.
Or to start bringing up, we've never met, blah, blah, blah.
You're right.
And just think about what you've told me.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I see you did not take my advice on your watch wristband. You're still rocking the
I haven't gone back to CrossFit
1990s.
yet. Haven't gone back to CrossFit yet, so I'm still on vacation. But this show is not on vacation. Ladies and gentlemen, we're bringing it in 2022. Happy New Year. And we're gonna lay down some goods. We're gonna talk about what's most important in 2022, which is the one change we know for sure is about ad copy and ads that's coming, and we're going to talk more about it and dive in deeper on it. But first, I want to tell you about the tool that can help you with your ad copy and your keywords and your negative keywords and your bidding strategies and your manual bids and your device bids. This tool is Optio, and it is the tool to help you do more in Google Ads, get more out of your campaigns, improve the performance of your campaigns. And for those of you that provide reports, like Jason does, like I do, you have reports that you send to clients. This also does reporting for you. And as I mentioned, it also adds little special touches and adds comments to your reports. Guys, I mean, I could go on and on about all the things that this tool does. And the bad news is this: you do have to pay for it. But the good news is this: it's entirely free. Okay, you get to try it for free for 2 months. That's 8 weeks for free. So the very first 2022, you're just coming back from vacation. You really need to make sure campaigns go well, that the clients are still happy with your stuff. Give it a boost with optio.com/PSP. Get an 8-week free trial. Use the chat box in the bottom right corner to let them know that you heard about it right here on the Paid Search Podcast, and that's how you can get that special 8-week trial.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Want to kick it off here with a review. This one comes from Nick. 5 stars. It says, Sweden likes you.
Oh.
Really helpful podcast and also fun to listen to. So this time it's a 5-star review from Sweden. Keep up the good work, guys.
Oh, thanks, PewDiePie.
There we go. Sweden back with us here. We want him back over. So Chris was talking to a prospective client, and this week, and they were very new to Google Ads, and they were very concerned about their ad copy, and they were thinking that was going to be the make or break thing on whether their Google Ads campaign was going to work for their business. And I was like having that thought where it's like, and I told them this, I was like, look, the ad copy, I mean, it'll take care of itself, and it's not really that big a deal in terms of like starting. You got to be focused on search terms and what people are searching for and making sure you show up on quality stuff. And so we talked about that, but then that got me thinking, well, okay, yeah, that's if you're new to Google Ads, but if you know what you're doing with your keywords and your search terms and all that, and everything's dialed in, including your bids, then it goes from not that important of a thing at the beginning to the most important thing, and that's your ad copy. And ad copies, the more established your campaign is, the more important your ad copy gets, because that's kind of one of the last things that you can improve and change. And as we also get into 2022 here, we both agree that responsive search ads are the most important topic of the year, at least right now, because expanded text ads are going away June 30th, 2022. In terms of being able to make new ones, you'll still be able to pause and turn on your expanded text ads, but you can't make new ones. And so it's going to responsive search ads. That's where things are going. And so you and I both think that's the most important thing. So with all that said, I had the thought, it's very important that we focus on ad copy here and we focus on responsive search ads. So we're going to do a deep dive here. It's going to be a two-parter at least. Next week, we're going to be talking about some more technical things with responsive search ads, but I found an interesting document about responsive search ad copy. And so before we get into the technical stuff, we're going to take it back to basics with ad copy. We'll have a link to it, but it's in Google Ads Help. Create effective search ads, write compelling, genuine ad copy. So Chris, with all that said, before we get into some ad copy discussion here, are responsive search ads also top of mind for you as we go into the new year?
It absolutely is important, but because I think I talked about this recently last week or the week before. I'm starting to realize now that the deadline is looming closer and closer, just how laziness can be multiplied with responsive search ads. You write bland, boring headlines, and Google can end up choosing those, company name, call now. If you write that in the headlines, Google can use that 50, 60, 70% of the time for your headlines, and your laziness is multiplied, and you may not realize it. So yeah, absolutely. Top of mind, very important. And to be clear, what we're going to reference today is not some blog article we found. This is not some YouTube video we watched from someone else. This is straight from Google's mouth. This is a Google Help doc that we're going to quote and that we're using to anchor our discussion on here. So this is not just, things we think or what other people think. We're going straight from the source. I'm ready to dive in. What did we learn about Google's thoughts on responsive ads and their help doc?
Okay, Chris. So the first thing, and I think we need to put an emphasis that this was the first thing they mentioned, is to craft messaging that focuses on user needs and benefits. So my headline there was nothing changes, focus on the user. So as easy as it is to get caught up on this ad grader, and it is very, very attention grabbing, and it's the ad strength thing that says good, above average, average, below average, whatever, poor in your responsive ad builder, as distracting and as attention grabbing as that is, Google's still saying craft messages that focus on user needs and benefits. And so they say that the best way to show value is to a user is to think about their needs and benefits. It's something we're always saying is show the users how you can solve their problem. And they also say focus on what a user gets by visiting your site. What are they going to get when they click on your ad and go to your website? Chris, that kind of makes me think of you because you're always kind of talking about like, hey, it's not just like call now, but what are you going to get if you call?
Right.
What are you going to get on our website? What can we give you? So Were you surprised that this was Google's first focus? Were you enthused to see this? Was this kind of a good reassurance that as much as things are changing with responsive ads, it's still back to basics? That's what I got from it. What are you getting from their focus on crafting messaging that focuses on user needs and benefits?
There's going to be a reoccurring theme, and just to start building on this theme, it does surprise me to see this, because I feel that there's two sides of the mouth that Google's talking from. And you and I get very caught up in the UI and what we see in the UI, but then when we reference
the engineer employee side,
right, what we see as we're crafting ads, when we see excellent, good, average, and poor on ad strength, and then we read this in the help doc that says user needs and benefits. What do they need? What do they need out of this? I think it's important to anchor us back to that. So it does surprise me, because I think you and I get really overwhelmed by seeing good numbers and good response, and things like that from the user interface, which is not what it's necessarily about.
So when we were talking before the show, you told me something to the effect of it's almost like there's two sides at Google, or two employees. If you think about, to simplify it, just two employees. There's an engineer making the user interface, making the quality score and ad rank system and all that kind of stuff, focused on keywords in the ads matching the searches, and helping this computer system all work together. And then there's the marketing employee at Google, the sales inspiration stuff at Google, that knows this is a advertising business, and they think about the users and the benefits to users and ad copy that way. And like you, I was surprised to see this as the first thing on this document here, the focus on the user needs and benefits. And the reason why is because if you go into the responsive ad builder here, I just picked out an ad here. It says my ad strength is good. First thing I see next to ad strength good, it says try including more keywords in your descriptions.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I go over to what could make my ad better with all these check marks and stuff, and it says add more headlines. Include popular keywords in your headlines. Make your headlines more unique. Make your descriptions more unique.
Mm-hmm.
You.
Yeah.
Keywords. I don't see the word user there. I don't see the word benefit. I don't see the word needs. And so that's what's missing out of the interface. And so it's so important for professionals like us, Chris, and advertisers to take themselves out of the interface every now and then, look at this help document, and realize that just because it says certain stuff in the interface, it doesn't mean that's the only thing going on. We still have to focus on the user's needs and benefits.
Yeah, I think it's really important that we understand what it doesn't say at the first of this help doc, right? It doesn't say make sure all of your ads have excellent ad strength or good ad strength, right?
Doesn't say anything about keywords.
It doesn't say anything. And so it brings us back to, with all the complexity that we have, Google says, make sure you focus on the user's needs. So in other words, what it's not saying is make sure every single one of your ads has, strong ad strength. That's not what it's saying. So I think it's great. I think it's a great anchor back to what's most important, and what is most important. Google will fail. Google will fall apart, and people will stop using it if they don't have a good experience when they search. And that is what we as advertisers have to ensure. And that's what the ad rank system and quality score system focuses on, is user experience. Do the users enjoy searching on Google? Do they get good relevant results?
Are they getting their problem solved?
Yep.
Chris, Jeff Bezos with Amazon, when he would have meetings with, I think it was a toy company or a toy merchandiser or something like that, there's a famous story where he would put an empty chair in the room of all these business guys, the vendor, Amazon, and then, or whoever, the supplier, Amazon, they would all be sitting in the room, but he'd keep an empty chair so you couldn't forget the customer. visually. And so I think when we make ad copy, I would put a picture of your customers on your computer screen, tape it to the side of it. I'm not kidding, Chris, because how much do you think about yourself when you make ad copy? You think about your own keywords, you think about your own ad score.
And you can't help it because there's a giant scale going up on the right-hand side, right? I mean, when you're writing ad copy, you're sitting and watching that little pie chart slowly fill in, and you know, it's like a gaming kind of system.
And there's nothing there to remember giving the customers what they want.
Right.
Yeah.
So
you got to
almost as if there should be a user that's unhappy, and slowly they start smiling. You know, I mean, that's what we really want. How happy?
Smiley face.
Smiley face.
Yes.
I mean, that's because that's what it's about.
Or they got their arm wedged in their pants in their pant pocket, and it's like the happier you make them with the ad copy,
they're getting closer to clicking.
And they start pulling their arm out, and they've got the cash.
Oh,
they're trying to hand over.
Nice,
to you. Yeah.
Good visuals. There we go. This man knows what it's about.
So the second thing that was interesting on this document, Chris, they had a very straightforward tip. When I think of Google communication stuff, I don't think of straightforward that often.
Yeah, you're right.
Because everyone misinterprets what they're saying and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And they don't have usually like a person come out and say stuff. It's a lot of like help documentation.
Yeah, they write it
written word,
and then it goes through editing and PR and lawyers, and in the end, it comes out kind of, huh?
And then it goes through millions of users' interpretations.
Right.
But this one was straightforward. It says, when creating responsive search ads, consider reusing existing headlines and descriptions from your high-performing search ads. The same content that worked in your existing search ads will work well in your responsive search ads, which can help improve performance. So they didn't use the word expanded text search ads, but that's how I took it. And so I think the tip is to look at what you're doing with your expanded text ads, what's working, what's getting great click-through rates, great conversion rates, and then use that stuff in your responsive ads. Now that responsive ads are going to be the format going forward. Chris, is this as straightforward as I'm interpreting it as?
Oh, yeah. I think so. And this is one thing where the interface and Google's suggestions actually meet, because if anyone out there has done the same process as I have, when you create a responsive search ad and you have maybe 3-4 expanded text ads in there, what you'll see as you create your very first responsive search ad is it automatically takes the headlines that are in those expanded text ads and fills them in as the first 3, 4, 5, 6 headlines. So this is something that's actually quite easy to do as long as you already have ads. But sometimes if you're creating a new ad group and you're creating a responsive search ad for the first time, it's a good reminder that, you know, don't reinvent the wheel. The system will encourage you to write headlines that are based on what it sees in the SEO of your site, right? Whatever the metadata is on your site, it's going to automatically give that as a suggestion, or it's going to give you what it's given a million other competitors suggestions for, right? Everybody's seen those. When you click on a empty responsive line, it gives you something based on your industry or something that, you know, has worked for other advertisers. That feels like a distraction from your goal. Oftentimes, like it's easy and you just click it and it writes the headline for you. But oftentimes,
getting back to
that's not what you
the
want
goal,
to do.
Craft messaging that focuses on users' needs and benefits.
Exactly. Yeah. Because if you look like everyone else, it's not gonna be appealing.
And if you've had existing text ads in your account, expanded text ads, you may have a good sense of what is communicating well to your users and showing them you can help solve their needs and what benefits you offer them, because you can see which ads in the past have done well with click-through rates and conversion rates. So just take those and put them in your responsive ads, and that's a good starting place if people are wondering, how do I even start with responsive ads? So next headline here, this is our kind of wording, and then we get into the official documentation. Use keywords, but focus on the high volume ones. So Google has a section here that says, tie your headline and description lines messaging to your keywords. So now The engineer took a right hand to the sales marketing person, knocked him out, got into this documentation, and they weren't able to delete the first part about users' needs and benefits and be number one, but they got in here with using your keywords in your headlines and description lines, or tie your headlines and description lines messaging to your keywords. So now it's the engineer side of things. Now it's a quality score grader side of things. But one thing we found interesting, and they're just saying, hey, when you're writing headlines and description lines, try using text from your keywords that serve most often in your ad group. This increases the relevance of your ad combinations for users, which can improve the effectiveness of your responsive search ads. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Does that mean quality score? Does that mean you just think they'll perform better? We don't know. We're going to maybe get into that next week. But we obviously, there's something to using keywords in ads. We know it draws people's attention, but it's about doing more than that. It's about telling them how you can solve their benefits or solve their needs and what benefits you can offer them. But that said, if you are going to use keywords in your headlines and descriptions, and of course you are, there was something very interesting they said here. They said, try including text from your keywords that serve most often in your ad group. And then they said, for example, if there are 5 keywords in your ad group, whoa, did you guys notice they didn't say 55 or 5,000 or 5 million? They said 5.
5.
They said 5.
5, yeah.
Okay. Interesting. For example, if there are 5 keywords in your ad group and 3 of them have the most traffic, try adding those 3 keywords to your headlines to get your ad strength to the next level and improve the performance of your ad. So, Chris, this whole thing about using your highest volume keywords in your ad group, not really being distracted by that's something I've struggled with. I've got all these keywords, say 20 or something in this ad group. Mm-hmm. How do I get this little grading system to like me if I'm not using all my keywords? Because I can't, because I only have so much space. Google's saying, chillax, just focus on your highest volume ones because those are the ones that the ads are showing on. Were you surprised by this? Were you relieved by this? Were you doing this already? What's going on with the way you look at your keyword volume?
This is absolutely something I was not aware of. This was a surprise to me. And this is something that...
But what were you doing before this? Did you have that same struggle trying to get everything in there?
Yeah, just like you. Letting the UI make me make decisions, force me into decisions, by playing.
So you were worried about it. You were worried about not using all your keywords, yeah?
By playing the gamification of that stupid little pie chart that slowly fills in. I add a lot of keywords and I try and get, lots of those keywords green, so it says, oh, you've included this one, and yeah. And trying to get that to the good or excellent or strong or whatever the indicator is for the top, that is not necessarily what I should be doing. I should be doing what we've done all these years and use our brain and not just an indicator on the screen to tell me that I'm doing what I should be doing, but actually use my brain to look at, okay, what keywords are the most commonly used and which ones did I add in that are just kind of trash and are not really going to get used that much anyway. They might even be low search volume, right? They might even not get a single click or impression, but I have them in there just in case.
And you see some green and it looks nice.
And it looks green because it looks great because it's green. Exactly. So yeah, that UI can make you make decisions that you would have otherwise not done without it. So very important.
Okay, I see what we're saying here, Chris. I feel so much more skilled at responsive search ads now based on the information we're getting from this document. But I'm worried that when we get back in the interface, we're going to see the gamification there and then fall back into that system where we're like, oh, let me try this keyword in headline number 9, headline number 10. Let me try this keyword to make sure I have them all. So it's going to take a lot of work to really force these kind of concepts in and make sure we don't forget these. Yeah. And then when we get back in the interface, be able to ignore a lot of what we're seeing in there. But I'm going to do what it says. I'm going to focus on the highest volume keywords in an ad group. Generic is a 4-letter word. This is my headline here. Generic is a 4-letter word. I thought this was super interesting, Chris. Google says, avoid generic sales language in your ads. Use more specific and relatable calls to action. Once you've identified some benefits that your users could respond to, it's easy to see why generic sales language might not be appealing. Things like call us today, and I would put in there call now, call us now, create a false sense of urgency. There's not really a benefit to the user. So why would they want to call today?
Mm-hmm.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
Non-specific or generic calls to action, sign up today, book today, can often show decreased engagement with ads. And then they say time-sensitive ads can be great, but there has to be a reason for the urgency. Saying something like sales ends in X hours through a countdown can be very effective. Make any urgency earned and valued. Another funny thing, estimates tend to be free, so it might not be a benefit to the user to know that your estimates are free. Quotes are often free, so maybe you shouldn't put in free quote.
That one hurts.
And then it says
that one's a little
yeah,
personal.
That does hurt. Yeah. And the call now is personal for me too. Contact us today, that kind of stuff. Signing up for a newsletter is great for you, but a user might not see the benefit. Have a clear call to action as long as the action actually benefits the user. Sign up for the newsletter today and get 10 free recipes.
Yeah.
Give them a reason. And final point, make your offers to customers relatable. Think about where someone is in the buying cycle, or we call it the funnel, based on their query. Know when a user probably wants to browse inventory and when it seems like they're ready to actually make a purchase. Wow, okay. Chris, one of the biggest things that I'm thinking about based on the stuff we're going to talk about next week, the more technical stuff, and then this ad copy stuff, is I am thinking more and more about my keywords in the ad group and my responsive ads together. And it used to be keywords were their own thing, and then you make ads based on those keywords. There's going to be stuff we talk about next week that to me is very different. And now I'm concerned that my ads are influencing my searches to some extent. And now that they're mentioning make ads based on where someone is in the buying cycle, does this mean going forward we need to make ad groups based on the funnel? And we have the near me, the geo kind of keywords deep in the funnel. Someone's ready to buy. So then that ad copy is tailored to that. And then the ad copy for middle funnel, maybe they're just creating a list or something. Maybe we use different ad copy. I don't know, but I'm rethinking everything based on this stuff.
I don't think it goes that far. I think when it says make ads based on your level in the funnel, I think what it's saying is don't mention price if they're saying plumbers near me. But maybe you should mention price when you get into a longer tail, specific, full context type of search, where they're doing something.
Searching for a specific toilet or something, or a kind of toilet.
Or a very specific kind of service. Yeah, product, service, something like that. Then that might be a time to mention price or something like that. I think that's what they're saying. I think that you might be interpreting that a bit deeper than it needs.
I think you're right. And I think my whole thing with the funnel is like, okay, if I'm going to show up on those middle funnel keywords, I still know that like X% of them are actually ready to buy. It's just that a big percent of them aren't at that point.
Right.
And so attract the ones that are. So yeah, back to basics. But what do you think about Google just coming straight out saying like, hey buddy, call now, get a free quote. You're not really doing that much good and you might be hurting yourself. Is it? I have not read that from them before, so it was very eye-opening, and wow, I need to question my own ad copy now, because I use that stuff a lot, because you're trying to fill up space, and how much can you put in there,
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes you just...
But I think the key is giving them a reason. That's what I'm going to build on here. Call now. Well, why should they call, buddy?
Yeah.
Give them a reason.
Yeah.
Call now for a free quote. Oh, no, they don't like that either, because everyone gets a free quote.
I'm not that surprised to see it, because Jason, try and put the words click here or click now in your ad copy. You can't do it. It doesn't allow you. So Google has always been very adamant about putting worthless, meaningless words and not
letting that stuff get in there.
Yeah, try putting lots of exclamation points or needless punctuation. They hate that. They've always hated that. So this doesn't surprise me. But what they're pushing back on is, as they've gone from, what did we used to have? Like 18 characters, 20 characters, a one headline, 20 character ad.
That's what I was just thinking. Why do you think I use call now? It's because I used to run out of space when we started the show in 2016. Before expanded text ad, there was just regular text ads, and it was very small.
Very little. You didn't have
put
room.
Why they need a call or contact because you didn't have room.
Yeah, now you have to. And so sometimes we're kind of like, well, I don't, there's a third headline here with 35 characters. What in the heck am I supposed to say now? So the tendency is to use that space because we have it.
Okay. So this is a big thing. That generic is a 4-letter word. That's how I'm going to remember that. Give people a reason. Okay, Chris, and I'll give you a reason to stick around right now, Chris. Every week you dance for me, I'm going to dance for you. So we're going to have our little dance party.
Okay.
And we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back after the dance break to talk about an interesting thing we found about ad strength and the way Google talks about this grading thing, ad strength, and maybe it's not a grade. Maybe it's just there to guide us. And then
big deal.
I found something today that Chris had never seen before. I had never seen it before. And if Chris had never seen it before, it is in the deepest, darkest corners of the Google Ads interface because all this guy does is he works all day, and then the last part of his day, he looks forward to it so much. It's like the little cheese in front of the mouse. It's a little reward. He goes into the interface and he looks for new nooks and crannies that he can find to be the number one Google Ads interface guy out there. I found something
he did
that he had not seen before, and we will share that after I shake it.
Here we go. Right here. Let's dance. Optio.com/PSP if you want to take advantage of the 8-week free trial. Start 2022 off with a bang with Optio.com. You are managing the ads yourself. You're a business owner. You need someone looking over your shoulder to tell you when something goes wrong or when something needs attention. Boom, Optio. You are an agency or a freelancer out there that's managing multiple accounts, and you need help sending reports. You need help balancing the budgets, making sure that the budgets don't go over or under. Boom, Optio is what you're looking for. It has everything that you need, no matter what level you're at in Google Ads, from basic to advanced. Try it out. Use the link in our description and let them know you heard about it on the Paid Search Podcast.
Okay, Chris. So when you're creating a responsive search ad, and this is something we've talked about a lot because it catches everyone's attention, you get your ad strength there. And it says ad strength is an indication of the relevance and diversity of your ad combinations. Having more relevant and unique content can help you get the right ad in front of the right customers and improve your ad's performance. And it gives you good, poor, above average, great. I'm not sure, or excellent, but I think it's good, excellent, below average, poor. I don't know. But it gives you great, and it's very distracting, and it makes you really focus on that. The question is, how much credit should you give it? I've got a provocative headline here. Ad strength is a guide, not a grade, question mark. So they say, check ad strength for insights into how users may react to your ads. They say ad strength is a crucial metric to use when creating responsive search ads, provides you with feedback to help you focus on providing the right messages to your customers. It goes on and explains more, but then the thing that caught our eye, it says Google's ratings aren't as important as your business metrics, of course, but this column can be a quick way to focus your efforts. So that's something we say on our own. We always tell people like, hey, we've been frustrated by this ad strength thing. How much credit should we give it? I'm worried if it impacts quality score. I know I need to focus on my users. If I just use only keywords, then I'm not going to get the stuff to show the users how I can help them. What do I do? And we've come up to the conclusion you just ignore it basically, and you focus on your users, because you got to focus on and you also focus on your data, click-through rate, conversion rate, and all that. And we were wondering if we're right. But then we see Google here almost confirming that, saying Google's ratings aren't as important as your business metrics. Of course. But this column can be a quick way to focus your efforts. So, Chris, again, surprised that they said this?
I'm surprised that they said it. I'm not surprised because it's true. This is something, I think this is the epitome of what I talked about at the beginning with Google having two branches. They have the UI people whose job is to try and make you create ads and choose keywords and choose settings. They encourage you in a certain direction to try and do things. And then you have the, very practical old school class of the ad rank system, the quality score system, those guys are in the back like, hey, we're the engine that runs this whole thing. The whole UI, great, but this is the system that runs all of it. We've been here since the beginning.
What a great way to put it.
And that's
who cares what the UI shows us? It's still
the score, same
click
system.
To rate times bid, basically.
Yeah.
Then ad rank, quality score times your bid.
Right.
I mean,
it's still the same thing. So this is the one thing I really hate the most about the responsive search ads is the same thing that I hate about the giant indicators on keywords when you have your bids too low. It's saying does not show up on first page. That's not true. It doesn't show up on
Then how did I get 5 clicks?
Yeah. How did I get 300 impressions? It does too show up on the first page. And it implies so many things that people read into it the wrong way. But this is the same thing. Just because you have poor ad strength does not mean that you're suffering. I have poor ad strength on 13% click-through rate ads, and I just wrote an ad the other day that it was targeting a competitor for a client that I was building, and every single one of the ads is poor, and they're like, hey, what are you doing? You have poor, and I'm like, well, yeah, I have poor because I can't use the keywords in the ad copy, but my ads aren't suffering. We're not being punished by it. It's still the same system it's always been. It's still ad rank. It's, click-through rate is still a factor for quality score, but we're not being punished because poor. That's just an arbitrary grade. It means nothing in the system. It only means something in the UI.
Yeah, and I think I misspoke when I was talking about quality score. It's quality score, we think it's in a large way made up by your click-through rate, of course, ad copy, and then the keyword effectiveness or something like that. And then it's ad rank that is quality score times bid. So, but Chris, the thing is, like you're saying, focus on that thing, the ad rank, and focus on your data, click-through rate, quality score, click-through rate, conversion rate. What happened to me, and I think it's happening to a lot of people, we see that ad strength thing there, and I start wondering if that plays a role in the ad copy portion of quality score and brings down quality score. But I kind of answered my own question or my own concern as you were talking. I kind of had the realization that as you were talking, like, hey, if I don't know if ad strength plays a role in quality score, and then by the way, in ad portion of quality score, and by the way, I don't know what percent of my quality score is made up by the ad strength.
Yeah.
Then you know what? If you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah.
And stop thinking you do know because you don't. And so if you don't know, trying to make judgments on something you don't know is just going to lead to bad decisions. So focus on the stuff you do know and you can control: click-through rate, conversion rate, the cost per click you're paying, and the overall results of your account. Mm-hmm. And so, man, it's almost, when I make responsive ads at this point, I almost want to wear a blindfold because it's so hard to unsee this stuff that we see. But here's some reassuring stuff. Google is literally saying Google's ratings, specifically about ad strength, aren't as important as your business metrics.
That's
and they
huge.
even put in the emphasis, of course. So, of course they're not as important.
In layman's language, what they're saying is, if it says poor and you have 13% click-through rate, ignore the poor ad strength. That's what they're saying. They said it right there.
But that's what they're saying, but I don't know if they're realizing how impactful and how just eye-catching this ad strength thing is and how persuasive it is. It's almost like a boss. I always picture like a Google Ads agency, just they're all lined up at their desk and then the boss walks behind them and kind of tells them how they're doing. It's almost like a boss comes up and just like cocks his hand back as hard as he can and just punches them in the back of the head when they had a bad performance day. And they're like, wow, you just knocked me out and like damaged me for the rest of my life. Then you come back in the next day and they're like, oh, don't take it that seriously.
Yeah,
like, it was just one day's day to get back on the horse.
That's exactly
and so it's like
right.
They're putting this massively visually persuasive thing in front of us, the ad strength, which plays into all of our problems as children, going back to like getting bad grades in school and being worried about your report card and being judged that way and putting your self-worth in that. And then they're like, hey, but it doesn't matter that much.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about that.
Then don't make it look like it matters so much. So little feedback. It's
yeah.
I mean, we see it with our clients. We hear it from listeners of the show, and then we see it in ourselves. That stuff, ad strength, the suggestions, the keywords being green or not, that is so persuasive. It's crazy.
And it leads to a blandification of the ads. You cannot write that ad and get excellent without blanding up your ad with some boring
Chris,
stuff.
I honestly think, based on seeing this help documentation and then the way it's just different inside the interface on the responsive ad builder, I honestly think that needs an overhaul.
Yeah.
And
the
they're
UI.
really like, they're not that portion of the UI,
Yes.
the responsive ad builder. It needs an overhaul because they're leading people to make the stuff they don't want us to make. They're leading us to make bad generic ad copy that's based on even low volume keywords in our ad group, and it's leading to bad ads. I think
it needs to be less. It needs to be something we see less of, or it needs to be a smarter system that that focuses more on creativity, features, benefits, things like that. So it either needs to go away, or it needs to be smarter and point towards more creativity.
The only thing I can think of why it's so generic and so not getting what it needs to be done, maybe for people that know what they're doing like us, it's really hard for us and a lot of listeners of our show to deal with because we already know the features and benefits stuff and we know to use some keywords, and this thing is like making us feel like we need a triple or quadruple down on keywords and we're forgetting the benefits and stuff. Yeah. Maybe the average user is so bad at ads or has no idea where to start with all these options. Maybe that's a problem. I don't know, but I don't know. But okay, so we found one extra thing on this document here, Chris. My headline for this is: does this one lead to ad rank and quality score implications?
Okay.
And so inside the ad builder, we have the ad strength thing. That's what we just talked about. But now we're talking about something different. If you go to your left sidebar here, your navigation bar where it says all campaigns, and I know some people's interfaces might be in a new view and they might not see this, but for people that have that list of campaigns on the left side, that's what I'm looking at right now.
You just want to go to filter only search. It doesn't matter what your interface is. Just go to filter for only search campaigns.
Show me the search campaigns. And I can see that on my left sidebar under all campaigns and search campaigns. So once you're there, you can click on ads and extensions. And then once you're in ads and extensions, the word assets will be an option there. You click on assets. And when you're looking at your assets, when you're looking at all search campaigns, you're taken to a very interesting page here that shows you a bunch of headlines, all your descriptions, and it shows you how many impressions they got over that period, whether or not you're pinning them, how many ads are using the asset, whether it's a headline or a description. And then very interestingly, it has the performance rating group of columns. The percentage of the time that it's a best performance, the percentage of the time that asset is a good performance, the percentage of the time that asset is a low performance, how often you're in the learning phase, I guess, percentage, and then unrated. So, Chris, this is something I had never seen before. It was something you had never seen before.
Yeah.
I think it might have ad rank and quality scoring implications, but I have no idea at this point. We may talk about this more next week. We need to do a lot more digging on it. You have to have 5,000 impressions, I think, on an ad. I think maybe it's by asset or it's by ad, but there's a 5,000 impression threshold in 30 days, I think, to get data. I think we'll link to this documentation. So a lot of my accounts, I saw everything was unrated, but you were able to find one that had ratings, performance ratings.
Yeah.
What do you think about this for high volume accounts? And if we don't have thoughts yet, that's fine because it's brand new. It's just something interesting we found.
It doesn't really tell me anything. I think it's an extension of the ad strength. I think this is a way to look at ad strength by description and headline in bulk. I think that's all this is. I do not.
So it's instead of looking at the ad, the way the ad or the way combinations, which are ads, are performing, which we can see in other places. We're going to break down this individual headline and this individual description and tell you how it performs across everywhere where you use it.
So basically, it's Google's way of saying, hey, if you want to update some ads, it's way too much. It's way too labor intensive to go through ad by ad and then look at each ad
combination
to figure out which one has the lowest performing and then replace that one. What you could essentially do when you have enough impressions is you can sort by low performance rating, find the ones that are low, and then replace those. And then that's it. So I don't think this is any kind of extension of quality score, or it's just ad strength. It's just more of kind of what's been bothering us. It's just another way to look at it. I don't really like it. And one of the things I know that it's new because there's no, if you look at your screen, Jason, there's no question mark. There's no definition little pop-up next to it. You know, all the other columns, if you go to the ads columns or anything, there's always that little definition bubble that will show up. There's not one here on performance rating. There is when you hold it over the good, low, learning, and unrated.
And best, yeah.
You can see that, but it's not on performance rating. So what, and then if you click learn more, it kind of tells you, but again, it mentions nothing about quality score. So I think in the end, this is just a simplified view of which one of your assets in your responsive ads needs work. And in reality, if you come to the conclusion that you and I have come to, that's not really a factor because that's such a distraction from what Google has already told us. They said, hey, if it says it's low performing, that may not be an indicator that you even need to change it.
Well, what's interesting about this one is they flat out say in the help documentation for when you're making new ads, use the best stuff to give you inspiration for new versions of those headlines and descriptions and stuff, new ideas. Keep good and get rid of low. So that's where it makes me think like maybe it is quality score. Like if they're outright telling you to get rid of the low stuff. But here's the problem. When you look at the help documentation on this one, there's a lot of like stuff like this tells you the performance of your ads, best, good, poor. The performance tells you how you perform for users. And it's like, it's a lot of like circular language where it's like, well, yeah, but what does performance mean? Does that mean ad rank? Does that mean quality score? Does it mean click-through rate? Like, where are you coming up with that? And I think that's where I'm lost at the moment. And I don't know if they'll ever tell us that, but this is one of those areas where it's like, okay, what are we doing here? Like, if you're going to give us this much information, like, tell us what that information means. It's kind of where I'm at right now. It's very, it's either new or weird or both. It's hard to figure out what this means at this point.
It feels like, again, I go back to that same thing we talked about at the beginning. It feels like two sides of Google are warring inside of the interface. And if you look at the low rating, it literally does not say the word click or click-through rate anywhere.
No, it just says low performance.
Yeah,
what does that mean?
It says, for example, let's say a headline shown in 3 different ads received 10,000 impressions in total. In the first ad, it received 3,000 and was rated good. In the second, it received 5 and was rated good. In the third, it received 2,000 impressions and was rated low. Nowhere in that quote that I just read you did it say click-through rate. Why was it rated low? It's pulling the knowledge.
We don't
factor.
know why. I don't think we know why.
And slow just because it received 2,000 impressions. Why? Why did it receive 2,000 impressions out of 10,000? Maybe that's where most of the clicks came from, but it doesn't tell me that. You can only see impression volume. You can't see click volume. Drives me crazy. So, yeah, in the end, interesting column, interesting new view, but for me, completely worthless. Completely worthless.
Are you going to, well, the one you're looking at, credit to you because you're just so freaking amazing, is, and handsome. He is handsome, guys.
Yeah, I showed you a screenshot of it before we started, and it has no...
Yeah, you didn't have any in the low. Yeah, nothing in the low. So
they were all, they were all best and good. So
it does say to pause or to stop using the low stuff. So if you ever happen to act like one of us mortals and have something in the low column, maybe you could pause it and use it that way.
Yeah.
Chris, what's in it? You got any product in that hair today, or is that just natural?
This is
just a little comb.
No, only product might be some wood chips. I was doing some drilling outside, so there might be some wood chips in it. So that's just manly.
Were you wearing a tool belt?
No, Jason, but I did have. Here we go.
Give him a snap real loud. No, Chris, no. Okay. As loud as you can.
Okay. Oh, it's gonna freaking hurt. Okay, here we go. There we go. Suspenders. For those of you can't see me, 100% of you can't see me. Suspenders, Jason. Suspenders.
All right, Chris. Well, that made my week. That made my month. That made my year. That made my decade, Chris. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for this episode. We will be back next week talking about responsive search ads. Again, we found out a lot of interesting technical things about them, so we'll talk about it then. You can reach me, rothmanppc.com, for Google Ads management and consulting. And Chris, where can everyone find you?
ChrisSchaefer.com. You can join my Patreon if you'd like some personalized Google Ads coaching in your life. I do that. Happy to help out with that. I also do management, but a lot of people are really enjoying the Patreon.
Okay, Chris, thanks so much, and we will see everyone next week.